Yeah, the name of our talk is called Living Landscapes, as seen from the crossroads. As we were looking at our work from the perspective of resilience, as suggested by the theme of the Biennale, something fundamental became evident. The position and the role of the architect is an important premise for building a resilient city. By the very nature of their work, an architect is capable to understand, identify, and connect the interests of multiple stakeholders so that a living and therefore resilient system is born as a result. And the sooner the architects get themselves into that position at the intersection of diverse interests, the better they will be at offering a fully creative response. Today, architects have to take up a much more active stance, making sure they are placing themselves at the crossroads. Let's first look at the docks in Paris as one of the earlier illustrations of this shift in the role of the architect. Conceived in 2005, delivered in 2010, the docks was a precedent for Paris, at least in a number of ways. Jakob McFarlane were one of the first offices in Paris to take a disused industrial building and develop a landscaped functional fifth facade on its roof. We didn't invent the idea of the fifth facade, but we had a chance of proposing it in a competition that we won and created a precedent. The second one was to create a roof landscape. Urban regulations allowed adding one floor. This gave us an opportunity to create a green topographic roof, a playful landscape from which people could enjoy the city and which could host a series of cafes and restaurants. Formerly inaccessible and private, it became a new public space for the city. Besides, the green roof radically reduces the building's heat footprint. This is the reason why in summer it's cooler than many of the neighboring buildings. Along with these, there was a series of cultural and symbolic meanings that defined the project. The presence of the river influenced the fluid design of the building skin. The building itself is a former warehouse and one of the first reinforced concrete structures in Paris. We exposed the concrete skeleton to honor the area's industrial past. Today, the structure is shared between one of the world's leading fashion schools and several cultural and entertainment functions. It became a hybrid and an educational hub and meeting place, an integral part of an urban promenade, and a catalyst for a previously dormant area of the city. Let's not forget that none of this was assigned by the competition. It was up to the architects to propose a program and put together a team that would be interested in building and using it. The energy plug in Saint-Denis, France, was the next major step forward. The project was a winner of the global competition called C40. This competition had similar requirements, but they were applied at a much larger scale and aimed at transforming difficult parts of the city into an innovative carbon developments. It became combined high environmental performance with high quality architecture and urban benefits. Our work has never been about destroying, but always adapting. In the energy plug, like the docks project, our aim is to grow the new from the old, to create a symbiotic relationship between the new and the old, a relationship from which both the new and the old could benefit. Like in a natural system, growth happens through an ongoing process of adaptation and improvement. In this case, we took the old, environmentally challenged industrial facility and gave it a new purpose. And at the same time, upgraded it to carbon zero performance. We did this using the so-called energy plug, a prefabricated, multifunctional climate device that can be grafted onto an ex-industrial building and transform it from polluting and obsolete into carbon neutral and even capable of producing more energy than it consumes. In the project of Living Landscape in Reykjavik, Iceland, it was another winning project for the Reinventing. Our idea was to bring together a team of experts that will enable a new methodology for living in the city, a prototype for living collectively with and around nature. This is, by the way, one of the models that we produced for the Seoul Biennale, which you can see in the Biennale at the moment, out of wood. A prototype for living collectively with and around nature, and taking into consideration every phase. Our project life cycle and its impact on the environment. Our team has developed a clean construction blueprint that can also be adapted to other projects and areas. And all of this expertise was matched with a developer willing to implement the project. Living Landscape restores a natural ecosystem and literally makes this ecosystem part of the project. On a 9,000 meter plot on the edge of a large brown field, we grow a fragment of natural landscape. We are literally layering it on top of a polluted landscape to heal the man-made damage that what used to be a beautiful coast site. This new oasis becomes a communal space for residents. At the scale of the country, Living Landscape is seen as a prototype for Iceland's future because it offers an ecosystemic methodology for growing cities. And one can imagine this approach used in other regions of the world. I'm going to move over a project that we did for Canada because of time and go to the last project called Tonga Above. In Tonga Above is a utopian, real vision of a resilient city. The project started with a conversation with a Tongan artist. Part of this conversation had to do with climate emergency. Storms in the Pacific Oceans are becoming stronger and occurring at a greater frequency. Due to water levels rising, a number of low-lying islands are going underwater. This combination of water rising and strong winds puts coastal areas under threat. Tonga's capital, situated in one such island, is also in a very fragile position. Another layer of the conversation was cultural, touching on the artworks produced in Tonga, as well as natural, and touching also on the coral formations. The structure of the area's coral reefs, we have different types of structural propositions with extraordinary architectural and engineering potential. There was no program waiting for an architect, but there was an architectural office interested in these issues, to the point that together with an artist, they are now proposing a new way of imagining a city of the future. A stronger, so here we're going into the islands as the waters are coming up. And we're proposing just in the northern part that where the capital is today, this new structure overlaid, which is in a sense a kind of replication of the reef structure. So here we're looking at nature. Again, this is a project that we presented in the Seoul Biennale. The idea of going up while building on an existing condition led to the title Tonga Above. As an office, we've always been interested in building something that evolves from the past into the future. This was the fourth element of the Tongan project that one brought along with us and added to three newly found conditions: a people, a culture, and nature. The architect here is very much an enabler, someone who was moving way ahead of the usual situation. Because it wasn't a direct command, we proposed the project. The traditional way architecture was made is no longer tenable. In a world undergoing massive climate change, we'll quickly arrive at a situation where vast zones will become uninhabitable. Whereas the more moderate ones are already experiencing increasing weather extremes. Today, the fact that one needs to create with resilience in mind is not even a question. The question is how this will produce a new kind of architecture, more hardy, yet more sensitive, more localized, and more global at the same time. Our office believes that we cannot just wait for technical answers to emerge. As conditions are becoming more extreme, an architect has to act as an enabler, as someone positioned at the intersection of a lot of different interests and issues, trying to coordinate them. Bringing together multiple issues is a challenge, but out of the challenge emerge projects that have meaning and a certain continuity. Creators can't wait, they need to act. Thank you.